Breakfast Show right here on Ghana Television. We have been joined on the line by lawyer Jikunu. Good morning and welcome to the Breakfast Show. Hello, lawyer.
Hello.
Okay, you have to speak a bit louder for us, lawyer. Hello, good morning.
Okay. Good morning.
Okay, now you have heard issues about seems like vigilante type thing where, for instance, the Kuala incident where the taxi driver ran into the motorbike. Is this fair under law? Is this the way forward? Is it permissible? Is what I'm trying to figure out. And also the fact that two policemen, no, not two policemen, two brothers were actually gunned down by policemen. And this is not the first time we've heard this. I mean, these gentlemen happen to be extremely innocent, as the reports will have it. But bottom line is this permissible under law for the police to do such?
Okay, thank you very much, and then thank you for the opportunity to explain this legal matter to the viewing public. In respect of the Kuala issue, where a taxi driver used his vehicle to more or less hit the two alleged armed robbers. Under our law, we have a duty as Ghanaians to prevent crime. Every Ghanaian has a duty. If you see anybody committing a crime, you have a duty to stop the commission of crime, either reporting the conduct of the person to the police, or you take steps to prevent the commission of the crime.
Okay.
In fact,
hello, lawyer. Hello, lawyer.
Hello.
Yes. That part was just for clarity on a particular discussion that we're having in studio. But now I want us to focus more or less on the issue of the police. This is actually beyond police brutality.
Hello? You mean the one?
No, in Mampong, where the police
Mampong.
apparently where the police apparently gunned down two brothers suspecting that they were armed robbers. And this is not the first time such has happened, under the guise of we suspected them to be armed robbers.
Yes. Thank you very much. Now, in respect of the Mampong issue, where the police were alleged to have gunned down two teachers on suspicion that they were armed robbers. In law, we have what you call mistaken identity. The police are raising the issue of mistaken identity, that they thought that they were armed robbers because armed robbery had been reported to them, and they were taking steps to reach the area, and suddenly they saw two men who jumped onto their motorbikes or so, and as a result of that, they were gunned down. Now, when it comes to the issue of killing someone, the court will look at the intent of the perpetrator, the alleged perpetrator, whether he did that intentionally or not. And it is only if it is proved that the person did that intentionally that the person can be charged with murder, that the person caused harm and the harm is unlawful, and that unlawful harm has resulted in the death of the victim. Then we can talk about murder, charging the police with murder. However, there are instances where the law will not permit a charge of murder to be preferred against the person. There we usually know that the charge of manslaughter is often used. And when we talk about manslaughter here, then we are talking about a situation where somebody's life has been taken just like this one, but the intent to kill the person wasn't there. The intention, the police didn't have the intention to kill the person. And that it was as a result of probably negligence. It was as a result of negligence that they were shot. And then it is important to also show that in exhibiting that negligence, there was the issue of showing some disregard to human life under the circumstances. So we have to look at the conduct of the police. If it is proved that they negligently shot those two gentlemen and that their conduct is such that it amounts to a disregard for human life under the circumstances, then they can be charged with manslaughter.
Okay. Okay. So we just needed that part. So it's those two elements that the law would usually look out for: negligence and the issue of disregard for human life.
Human life, yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Lawyer Jikunu.
I'm grateful.
Okay. So Lawyer Jikunu has also brought his angle to this whole thing, this whole police unprofessionalism, as ASP Tanko also confirmed to us. I think, John, you were making a point earlier.
Yeah, my point here is pathetic, this mistaken identity issue and misinterpretation of the actions of the two brothers innocently and the response to it. I would have thought that, as the police modus operandi normally is, in such an instance that you are not 100% certain that this is a suspect, you might shoot to.
You saw from our auto tips, when your battery is low, there's no need to be hitting it. You don't have to hit it like that. There are ways to get it to work, to fix it, okay? When you do that, you destroy your battery. Yes, the battery terminal. Don't do that, okay? Well, let's talk about something important, equally important. It's an Africa Intellectual Integration Initiative, and it's being organized by the Think Africa Forum. It's part of it. So I have the president of the Think Africa Forum and the vice president of Wells Fargo Bank in San Francisco, USA, here to talk to us about this African Intellectual Integration Initiative. I'm sure you're wondering what that is about. So my guest will help us understand. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
What you look lovely in your African fabrics.
Thank you.
Wow. So, Mr. Victor Moffat,
that's right.
You are the vice president of the
president?
The president of the Think Africa Forum, and Geanie, you are the vice president of Wells Fargo Bank.
Yes, I am.
Wow, okay. I'm going to ask you about that, right? How you got to that level?
I had been in computer science for several years now. I started as going to primary school here, Northwest ICM, went to Wesley Girls, and then continued my studies in the UK, where I studied computing, and fast forward several years, I was able to be a project manager at Wells Fargo. That was how I was able to get there.
Project manager.
That's right.
And now vice president.
Yes.
Of the bank. Well, sometimes, especially IT, it's known to be a man's world, when it comes to IT and all that. How was it like getting to that level? Were you being bypassed? Maybe you're in a room filled with men and they have questions, you have the answer, but they just bypass you.
Yes,
were you experiencing that?
Yes, and as many of us know, what happens is, many women may go in to IT, but may not stay, because you do have to have courage and strength, that when you have cases where you may be in a room where men are discussing issues, and you may be bypassed or ignored, but you persevere. And I did, because that was something that I wanted to do. It was a field I wanted to be in and stay in, because I know that I could make a difference as a woman, as a black woman as well. So yes, it's not easy.
As a Ghanaian woman.
So it's not easy, but I persevered, which is with life, really, just perseverance will get you where you need to be.
And you had your reward. You were named the 2015 IT Woman of the Year in San Francisco.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Keep making us proud.
Thank you.
All right. Victor, why an African Intellectual Integration Initiative? Do we need that?
Yes, we do. Thank you very much. Africa has got to where we claim, what we see now as the clash of interpretations as to what is best for Africa and who is best positioned to take Africa there. We've come to the realization that some people are seeking for political integration, some are looking for economic integration, but we believe that it's time for an intellectual integration to be the third in the tripod. of this search for integration. So we decided that why don't we rather harness the potential inertia of African minds scattered across Africa and the diaspora, and bring it back home to Africa, and begin to look for African solutions by African brains for African problems. So basically that's what the initiative is all about for now.
And you believe we have the brains to solve our problems and, find solutions to our problems?
Sitting beside us is the brain, Dr. Geanie Asante.
Okay.
She is here because we want to tell the African that no matter where you are and no matter your situation, you are an African. They can take you out of Africa, but they can never take the Africa in you out.
Okay.
The Africa in you is what gives you your identity and your passion to see your homeland come to the reality of what Bob Kwame Nkrumah did say, that the independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it is linked up. He also did say that of what use is your education if you cannot use it to enhance and help your country in a time of need.
All right.
So that's where we're coming from.
Okay. Sometimes I tend to believe that as Africans, when we are outside of Africa, in our various fields, we do so well, but once we are brought back together, you put us all together, we don't do what is expected of us. We don't give of our best. Do you see that happening in some cases?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes, because the systemless system of our system makes us feel the way we do.
All right.
But the Africa itself is a Kibulan. It's the garden of God. Africa is the best place you can ever be in the world.
All right.
But the African somehow, somewhere along the line, has what I still maintain, the clash of interpretations as to what her identity is. Also, re-examining the African from what we call the 3 L's, the language, the literature, and the linguistics of the African, has over time been shifted, been rewritten by people who do not want the African story to be heard. Unfortunately, we as Africans also are not telling our own story our own way. That's why, for example, in the Think Africa Forum, we do have a unit, a musical unit, that is engaged in this project of translating every African national anthem into every African language. So that we have programs in Ghana where we sing the Ghana national anthem in Swahili, in Arabic, in Hausa, and we go to Nigeria, we sing the Nigerian national anthem in Krobo, just to bring this awareness that the language of African is still rife and still.
Okay. So with the Think Africa Forum, what programs do you have for gathering these brains together? What do you hope to do?
Okay, the flagship project we have now is under the Africa Intellectual Integration Initiative. And what we're looking at now is setting up villages, what we call Africa Integration Villages throughout Africa. We've selected 10 distinguished Africans, scholars, and we're looking at their place of birth and starting these projects, these village projects at their place of birth, as it were, first of all, to venerate them, and then secondly, to create the awareness that no matter where the African is born, he is still an African. So we have this, and I want to take this opportunity to say a big thank you to the Omaheni of Dominacy, who actually gave us the land to site this village, the first village out of the 10, as part of the integration initiative. And we did a sword cutting ceremony last year, in August. And we are hoping that certain facilities like the Arboretum and the ceremonial field, which we will name after one distinguished African personality, will be ready by July this year.
Okay, so when you gather the people, the brains, what message are you sending across? What do you want to see them do after that gathering?
The gathering is a platform that we say to us, Dr. Geanie is here.
All right. So
we create the platform and let them tell the story.
Okay.
So we take the back seat when they come in and say, look, this is your story, this is your time. So she is an IT professional, vice president of a bank in the United States.
A bank that is doing well.
Doing well.
Yes.
And we're hoping that she would establish the same bank in the village out there, to make sure that, the story is told, and rather they get the platform, not us.
Okay. Geanie. Dr. Geanie, of course. What do you hope? What message do you want to give to the people when they're gathered?
The main issue, the main message that I would love to share is just to make sure, as Victor had mentioned, making sure that we are confident and empowered amongst ourselves and what we can do. What tends to happen is we lose that courage, that strength, the knowledge that there's no matter what we want to do, we can do. And especially with IT, no matter where we are in the world, knowing that as Ghanaians, that is something that we can get into. We should not be afraid and say, well, it's computers, I don't know computers, so I can't. There are things that we take for granted that we know. Just the fact that we have our mobile phones, the fact that we use our computers at home, that is still technology. That still means that as an individual, you have the capability, and there's someone did develop that, and we can too. If it's possible to assemble cars in Ghana, why is it not possible for us to do much more with computers and believe that we can and we will get there?
Can you touch on the underrepresentation of ethnic minority in science, technology, and all these other fields?
Yes, there are several levels to it.
Okay.
Starting with as young children, when we are choosing what field we want to go into, again, we may feel that whether it's science, technology, mathematics, is something that we cannot do. So the first is encouraging and letting children know, young Ghanaian girls know, boys as well, that it's something that you can do. If it's a subject, if it's math, whatever, you can do that. One issue that we face though is that you may choose those subjects to get you there, but then by the time you're in your late teens, early 20s, ready to dig deeper, people get discouraged again, and so may choose something else. So it's again empowering, letting people know that this is something you can do. And then when we get out into the field and we're working, there may be issues at work where we feel again, this isn't something, it's easier to go and do something else. But it's, again, continuing and encouraging, providing schools, colleges, institutions that will help our students be able to continue and be able to be competitive worldwide. So it may be a case of, there's unemployment right now in our country, but knowing that people work from home, if you have a computer, you may also be competitive with computer scientists in other countries. So when you go to India or China, there are people in India and China who work from home themselves, and they are hired by companies in the US, in the UK, to do different things,
develop things for them.
Exactly.
Yes.
And as Ghanaians, it may be programming, it may be data processing that we should be able to do as well from here and be paid by people outside the country.
Okay. So besides empowering people and women and all that, what other field are you looking at?
So that there's as far as IT, or do you mean with other
IT and other things?
Well, one of my major passions as well is health and fitness, and just making sure that we eat, to make our lives longer and healthier. Because what I have found, as we get older, the eating as much as you used to doesn't, we will get bigger, so the plates get bigger, our size get bigger, and it's hard as you get older. It's hard to lose the weight as everybody is trying to. So when about 15 or so years ago, I was faced with health challenges, so I used that to be able to learn to eat more fruits, more vegetables.
You were faced with a health challenge, so now you're a cancer survivor. Tell us about that. What cancer was it?
It was, it's called non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is cancer of one of the blood cancers. And I was diagnosed in 2000. And I remember at one point I asked the doctor, if I didn't, because at the time my knowledge of cancer is if you get it, that's the end. You're gone. Right. So I remember speaking to the doctor the first time, and he said, I said, if I don't take these medicines, because I didn't have any faith in them, what are my chances? And he told me, well, you'll be dead in 6 months. So I said, oh, okay. Then in that case, what do I need to do? When can I get the treatment? But what's most important for me, and I feel for all of us to know, is that as well as getting the traditional medicines to help, it's important that you also have the faith and the strength, the mental strength also, to get you to that point that working together, there's a balance, and that you can be able to heal yourself with traditional.
Okay.
So whatever issue you may be faced with, if you feel that there's something not quite right, with your body, pay attention and seek medical help. And then with that, balance that with eating healthy, working on yourself, mentally.
Okay.
So there's mental, physical, emotional, to get yourself to that point to be able to heal.
All right, well said. Victor, well, what can you say has been your biggest achievement so far? Think Africa and the Africa intellectual integration.
I think one of the flagship projects that we can say it's a big plus is the All Africa Secondary Schools Debate Dialogue League competition, which started on the premise of the OAU at 50 in Ghana. It was one of the highlights of the OAU at 50.
Sure.
And the whole idea of the schools debate competition, which is in the third phase, is the thematic area is for the inclusion of Pan-Africa and Renaissance as a core subject in every African secondary school and black community schools in the diaspora. The competition was excellent. The students were excellent. I mean, we had 30 students from across the country. And the first debate that we held, which was held nationwide, started at the same time in all the 10 regions, at 10 o'clock. And it was wonderful.
Okay.
Now, we also do have students coming in from the three winners of the competition now, which is Yellow Crowbar Secondary School from the Eastern region, Laura SHS from the Upper West region, and TI Hamadea. Now, we don't normally say first, second, and third. We have designated trophies that we've named after distinguished personalities and institutions. The first trophy here was named after His Excellency James Victor Gbeho.
Okay.
So it is called the James Victor Gbeho Africa Intellectual Integration Trophy.
Okay.
This whole project is also in collaboration with the Ghana Education Service. So to honor Ghana Education Service, we named the second trophy. It's called the Ghana Education Service Africa Intellectual Integration Trophy.
Okay.
And then the third trophy was named after, may he so rest in peace, Malvi Wahab Adam, the emir, the late emir of the Ahmadiyya Mission Movement. So these are the three trophies that will be defended. Yellow Crowbar would defend their trophy from an SHS school in Nigeria, which is plans are far advanced here. And then we have Laura defending their trophy against a school from Equatorial Guinea. And then we have TI from a school from Zimbabwe.
Okay. Besides Dr. Geanie Asante, which other speakers are you giving the platform to tell their story to the people in the
Well,
community?
we also have what we call the Unfinished Africa Agenda Public Lectures, which is an annual lecture which we started in 2011. And per our strategy, we don't normally change topic, we only change speakers. So from the same topic, we have different interpretation, different presentations of our topic. So we've had excellent speakers like Dr. Vladimir Dasur, we've had Professor Amata Edu, we have Ambassador Cleland, we've had, once again, His Excellency James Victor Gbeho. These are some of the speakers that we have. And then also Malvi Wahab. Yes.
Do you think an African intellectual integration will ever happen?
Yes, it will. I mean, for as long as the Dr. Geanies are here and you're here too, because I'm sandwiched between two excellent women, well-recognized, renowned women. It will happen.
It will happen.
It will happen. In our time.
In our time,
Yeah,
I
in our
like that.
time.
In our time, not just any time. In our time, Dr. Geanie, do you think it will happen as well?
Absolutely.
How soon?
Absolutely. I will also say that within our lifetime.
Okay.
But again, as long as we've people like Victor are making the effort, yes, it will happen.
Okay.
I'm confident.
All right. Your advice to us women, I want you to advise us.
Don't give up. Stay in your power. Recognize who you are and what you are capable of doing. Don't listen to those negative voices in your head or what other people may project on you.
Or what the men tell you cannot do.
Cannot do. As when they say you cannot do it, that means you can. You move forward.
All right. Thank you. And I hope you have a successful program and you come back some other time to tell us about it.
Thank you.
Well, we've been talking about the Africa Intellectual Integration Initiative, which is part of the Think Africa Forum. And my guest has been Victor Mulford. He is the president of the Think Africa Forum, and Dr. Geanie Asante. She's the Vice President of Wells Fargo Bank in San Francisco, USA, and she's a partner with the Think Africa Forum, and she's also a cancer survivor. You heard her story. You know, if you're a woman out there, don't give up. You can do it. You can do it all. Well, the show continues. Don't go anywhere.